Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We've got a nice studio audience here, and I have a special guest today. Russ Johnson, I haven't seen you for a while.
It's been a minute or two, yes.
UFOs and everything that goes along with that. So we're going to have a really interesting hour. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor, and also to you, Russ, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit, so some of the new people that are tuning in now that don't know who you are, please, I'm going to let you present yourself.
Okay. Well, I've been around a couple years here. I was in the Korean War, so that goes back a day or two, or 3 or 4, 5 or 6. And so in addition to that, I came out of the service. I was a controller, air traffic controller, so I got to see a lot of stuff, back in the day. But we couldn't talk about it, obviously.
Right.
And I'll skip ahead and say that I got into radio and television and was doing a lot of shows, newscasting and all that. Then I went to school, got my GI Bill, used that, thank God, and got the BA, MA, PhD, and taught at Howard University and a couple other universities on broadcast journalism. And here I am.
And the topic, actually, we had advertised it as karma, so we will definitely get into that in the beginning, and then we'll turn the show over maybe on the second half, and we'll talk about the UFOs, which is a great topic, which I love anyway. So we'll just get a few questions from the audience, and then we'll go from there.
Excellent.
I know a couple of people, because I knew you were showing up, but they weren't, so they have some questions. And then we'll talk about UFOs, which is a great topic for me. Okay, so we're going to open this studio to either call in or anybody in the audience that has any questions for me. Or Russ, he can also answer. Thank you. Hi. Hello. Talk into it a little more.
Hi. My name's Megan. I have like a few questions, but I'm just going to start with this one.
Okay.
This is like extremely specific. How long should I stay in Florida?
How long should you stay in Florida? Okay. I'm assuming that it's not on this visit. This is what I'm hearing. It's how long you should stay here, or should you come back to Florida? I'm feeling that this visit that you're on right now is not going to be that long. But I'm also feeling that you are definitely coming back. I believe that you're going to meet somebody, a business opportunity, while you're staying here right now. Okay, and I know that I don't always remember what I'm talking about, but I know I have given you other messages from a couple of weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah.
So you are going to have an opportunity. And of course, everything is entirely up to you how you deal with that.
Yeah.
But I feel that it's going to be very beneficial to you. I feel that you'll move eventually. I do believe that you will move back here. So if you get the opportunity, and you may know what I'm talking about right now, it's going to develop into something much more, okay, than just a casual, okay, I'm coming back. I believe that you will come back. However, this visit is not going to be a long visit. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
I know you have a few questions written down, which I won't attempt to answer till I'm on my show. So I said, let's wait. Do you have another one?
Also, I guess, do you, I don't see anything from like spirit guides around here, or is there any specific spirit guide or something? Okay,
and I get that question a lot. We all have spirit guides. Not one, we can have 4, 5, or 6 spirit guides. You definitely have guides around you. You have one specific one. I believe he's a male. I believe his name is, actually, I've had this for me too, Raphael. Okay, and oh my God, I'm getting the goosebumps. He's definitely with you. And he's guiding you right now. We have, which I learned over the years too, with my spirit guide, one of them actually showed himself here in physicality. but I didn't know that. But they have assistants, which I knew I was getting when I was astral projecting. And I said, how? It's not him. He said he's putting me onto his assistant. Raphael has an assistant, just to show you that this does happen, okay? The lady, it's a lady. It's not, and it's very similar to what I actually had for myself. She had incarnated here. I don't believe that Raphael had, not in this particular lifetime. She is around you. I'm not getting her name, but she's had a very similar lifetime that you're having here. So I don't know if you can relate to this at all. And by your nodding, I believe that you are, so you know who she is. She is definitely, she's an assistant to Raphael, if that makes sense, okay? And it's very similar to my very first message, actually, from my spirit guides, from Aldo. He told me that too.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? And then we will get onto the topic of UFOs. So if there's anybody out there or in here or up there that wants to ask us questions, be
Sally, I have a
patient.
question for you. As we age, do our guides also age, or do they change?
No, I love that question, Freddie. They
a good
don't.
question.
They stay. It's a wonderful question. And you know, many years ago, I was reading Sylvia Brown, and she used to say, which actually catapulted me in some ways to where I am today. And she used to say, it seems like everybody's 30 years old. Well, it could or could not be, but we don't age on the other side. And people say to me, well, am I the age of which I passed here and transitioned to the other side? No, you're any age that you want to be, if that makes sense. And it makes sense to me today. I'm understanding that. So if you want to, say, for instance, when you pass and they greet you and you remember someone that was in their 60s and they passed on, what happens is they will show themselves to you at that age. So they can make that age. So you're going to recognize them. If I suddenly see somebody that decided to be 20 years old, but I knew that them at 60 or 70, I'm not going to know who they are. So we actually become the age that we want to be, if that makes sense, Freddie.
And how does our experience, learning our experience, how does that affect our guides?
How does it affect?
Our guides.
Well, they're aware of everything. They just let us know what we might need when we're going through here. We're not aware because we are, but we just don't remember. So, and I've said this many times, I say, you know, go into your gut and see what you feel. But there's more to me saying that, because when you do that, they're actually talking to you, and we can hear that. It's telepathy. So you go into your gut feeling. They're helping us with that. They know what's going on in our life. However, having said that, they don't interfere. We can ask them, and that gives them permission, but they're not going to say, go this way, it's very important. They'll help us, but ultimately, because we have free will, it's still up to us what we continue to do in this lifetime. They're there to help us. If we ask for help, they will give it. But I think you have to ask for that. They'll show you many different ways in which a situation where you can take different avenues, but it's still ultimately up to us because we're here to learn.
So when you talk to your guide and you put a table in front of the area that he responds to you, or she responds to you, then is that the guide's method of them communicating with you so that you can see it?
Well, they'll put, what they'll do, and they'll put you know, it's actually, if you go into what I would call your imagination. So if you're thinking of which way you should go or what you should do, ask. You don't have to, but they're there to help us. And in your, I'm going to call it imagination because it's helped me. I'll think that I want to do something, I'll ask, and I'll see a scenario of how I can go about that. I believe that's them trying to help us. They help us in dreams. We don't always remember our dreams. They help us by that little voice in our head saying, no, don't do that, go that way. So you can talk about the scenario to yourself, but you're not really only talking to yourself. You're talking to what we don't see, other people helping us, our guide. We call them guides, but they may have been our family in this lifetime. They may have been our family in other lifetimes. On the other side, that's their job. The ones that have chosen to, they guide us. My guide showed himself here. He told me, I wasn't ready to hear all that he talked about to me at that time, but today I understand a lot of what he was showing me. And I feel very, very grateful that I had him in my life. And for people that know, we're talking about Aldo. He was amazing, absolutely amazing. He told me things that would happen. They're happening after he's passed. So I can't deny that. We all have, and I believe we had a show, Find Your Aldo, Find Your Aldo. He helped me here.
Now, today's show is about karma. What is karma?
Karma is, it's things that happen, and feel free at any time, Russ. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ignoring you, but
No, that's
I
all right.
wasn't,
Go ahead. No, I'm listening.
Okay. Karma is what we have worked out, things that have happened in our lifetime, things, situations, people, places, and things that may really, I'm going to say, bother us, or we have hurt, not always hurt, but situations with other people that we haven't corrected. So my take on karma, and it's basically up to us, is if we have a situation that we're not, let's say, happy with, and it keeps reoccurring, we may think we got rid of that situation. Not always, because sometimes that same, whatever it is, and it's different for everybody, will resurface again. And I'm talking about in this lifetime. It'll be a different, like the situation itself will be a different scenario. It'll be a different theme to that situation. But it will come to us. It will keep coming back, because we need to get through that to graduate, so to speak, to another dimension. So if we keep having something that, let's say, that keeps bothering us, and we don't kind of get with that person and it's still bothering us, we'll find another person that will do that to us. Different scenario, but it will keep coming back. And I believe I said this on another show. It may not correct itself in this lifetime. So guess what? We're going to come back, and we'll still, that's our choice though, because we need to get that to graduate. The same scenario, situation will show itself again. If we're aware of it, we're more likely to be able to get rid of it. We're not always aware of it. I've seen it in my life. I've had since a child, and I won't go into the details of it, but the same situation reoccurs. But the good thing is, I'm understanding that today. So when it will show itself, it can be a totally different person, I know it, so I know I have to get rid of it somehow. And we will, otherwise it's going to show it again. It may skip a lifetime, but it's still going to show itself again.
When someone takes advantage of you spiritually, and I was told that they remove something that doesn't belong to them.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you, Freddie.
They say that you're removing something, energy force that doesn't belong to you.
Okay.
And then karma is the payback of that energy and then some with interest. Is that an accurate assumption?
Yes, I think it is, because we're not aware always of our karma. But you know, sometimes, and I think this happens to many, many people, we can meet someone, it could be at a party, it could be anywhere, and we take that instant liking or dislike. But that person, and I believe every person that comes into your life, be it a day or a month or years, has a purpose. I know that sounds silly, but if it's not that relevant, they go and we don't see them. But in an opportunity to get rid of karma sometimes, that person will reappear. We're not always aware of it, but it'll be a love-hate relationship, actually, many different things. Again, just to say, and I mean, I don't know, I can only tell you what I feel. Karma has not necessarily what we always think it is. It's situations, people, and things that we have to resolve. They're telling me, say the word resolve in lifetimes, because if we don't, we actually really can't graduate to the next dimension. And that's not going to the other side. That's the next dimension here in the illusion. Does that make sense? Does that help you in any way? I get carried away sometimes, Freddie, with your question.
It makes sense, but sometimes people don't understand. They think that karma is coincidence, or they think that they're not affected by what they do. I mean, everything we do has consequences, correct?
Absolutely, 100%, good and bad, but it will have consequences. We don't always see it. We can see it a year later. Again, I'm going to say we can see it in another lifetime. But if we don't resolve issues, not everything, I mean, things go smoothly, but when they're not, it's something that we have to resolve. We have to resolve it.
And there is such a thing as positive karma.
Yes, there is, because we actually say that was a wonderful experience. I wish that could happen to me again. So we can show the positive. You can say that's karma. What goes around comes around. So it can come back into your life, a different scenario, a different feeling, but we're still going to feel the happiness that we felt from the last time of that. Yeah, it's mainly not uncomfortable situations are karma, because we got to get rid of it. So that will show more. But happiness can come around and go around, absolutely, 100%.
How do we know if it's karma or if it's just something that's annoying?
Okay, that's a good
Or
question.
someone.
And the answer is, as far as I see, very simple. It'll keep reoccurring. And that goes, I mean, we may not remember from another lifetime or what we're going to have in other lifetimes, but that situation, if we need to get rid of it, will definitely come back to us.
Question, you were born in the UK.
I was.
When I looked at the book, and I got your book, matter of fact, I got a couple copies of it, called me Zena. When you were in the UK, you didn't demonstrate the skills you have today. Why? Why do you think?
I wasn't ready. I've been told, because my guide was here, who was
see.
Aldo.
I see.
I did, and we actually have a trailer here, I call it a trailer, where I was getting messages from a very early age. In fact, one of the ones that we had, I don't believe we put it on the show this morning, was a child, and I thought that my parents kept waking me up with messages. I thought everybody had this. They were not waking me up. It only really showed itself, although I had many experiences here, I still put it down as, let's say, coincidence. I used to think, how in the world? And I have many that I demonstrated in my book, being on the beach, and you know that.
True.
Because I couldn't figure it out until my guide, who was in physicality, came and found me here. And that's when I started to astral project, and that's when I found out about the UFOs, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Sure.
That I was ready. I believe we all have to be ready. What I've had happens to all of us, but different lifetimes. I was ready to open up. I had experienced this in another lifetime. I didn't remember.
Right.
He was to tell me that I had this, but it was dormant.
Since you met him, do you remember some of the specific experiences that you have had in other lifetimes?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, what can you give me something?
Well, a lot is, which you know, but I don't know if you've seen my sketching. I began to draw. This is artwork that I have, and every time, actually, just as to tell you that if I stop for 5 or 6 months, my artwork changes. But in the very beginning, I was drawing signs and symbols of the 15th century, the Renaissance. I didn't know I was doing that, but in my mind, let's say in my subconscious, or Aldo used to say my superconscious, which came up, I was able to draw things that I had seen in other lifetimes. I didn't know that, and I wondered what I was drawing, but we checked it out because he told me to. He knew I was ready. He knew I was ready.
How many lifetimes do you think you've incarnated on this planet?
That's a question I honestly can't answer. I would say in this particular here on Earth, because we know, as you know, many other different planets. I am an old soul here, as they call, so I've been back to Earth many, many times.
Many times.
I feel that. I came from somewhere else. But when I say that, and as you know too, Russ, there is no time. So we're here like this. I've chosen to come back, and actually it's just coming back now to get rid of a lot of the karma. We will not go somewhere else until we get rid. I'm getting goosebumps. I just realized that right now.
Okay, what person do you think you were during, say, the Middle Ages?
Okay, we're getting to something. I'm still, Dawn, help me out here,
that's
okay?
Important because...
yeah, well, I'm really still not completely ready to come forward with the name, but that's okay. Let's say that I was, you know, people say they were Cleopatra, they were here, they were there. I can tell you that I was what we would call royalty. But I'm not ready to say who I was in the 15th century. Because people will say, you know, that's who I was. I don't believe anybody was who I was because but
Okay, so in the French
Dawn, help me
culture?
out.
in
Yes,
Fr-
French and Italian.
French,
yes,
French and
yes.
Italian,
So
yeah,
it's
okay.
not
So
anybody
do you
from England.
think when you were incarnated in those lifetimes, were you a good person, you think, on average?
Well, yeah, we all want to say we're good. I'm talking to an audience out here. I was amazing. I was great. I was everything. No, I had lessons to learn, and I'm learning them now.
You were a little tough in a past lifetime.
I was what?
A little tough.
I was a little tough, which, however, people say, no, not you, Sally. I have remnants of that with me, absolutely, as you're beginning to see. Yeah, I was a little tough, and I still can be, but it doesn't show itself that much. But I remember who I was, so that was good.
Do you think who you were then has brought lessons into this lifetime?
Absolutely, 100%. Although I could say I'm just talking and this is not making sense, it's ridiculous. However, I was drawing from that period of time. And I was drawing signs and symbols from that family that I did not know who I was. Here I'm drawing their symbols and signs of who they were.
So you're an elitist. You were part of the rich and famous then.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I am in this lifetime, but I had lessons to learn, so that's why I'm not rich and famous yet.
Well, you're attached to the rich
Yeah,
and famous
yes,
family
yes,
here.
yes, I am.
Without
Yes, I am.
talking about your brother-in-law.
Boy, I can't keep anything secret with us around. Yeah, right.
But Aldo had to come along and kind of nudge you so you can go.
He came here to wake me up. However, I was already waking myself up, but without his help, and just to backtrack a little bit, I had actually been working in the same building, in the same company as Aldo for 2 years before this happened to me.
So that's
I never said hello. He knew I wasn't ready and never introduced himself.
Okay.
But my first of what I would call, which I now know that I was astral projecting, I had an out-of-body experience. I did not know what was happening. He knew because he was right there, but I didn't know, but he was there. The following day, he told me exactly what happened to me. He knew I was beginning to be ready, but that was after 2 years of working in the same building.
So without he approaching you, you might not have been.
No, if that had not ever happened to me,
You wouldn't be here.
I would not have known who he was.
Kind of stay quiet.
Yeah, he would have absolutely.
He kind of pulled you out.
Because there's no point, and I truly believe this, in him telling me these things were going to happen, or this is who I was. I had to experience that first, and this is very, very important, for him to tell me, yes, you are correct. He would show me I was correct with my drawings that I had drawn. He would tell me things which he was in that lifetime with me. It wouldn't have meant anything if it had come from him. He could validate what I was saying, and he could show me, and he could show on the internet. If I had seen it, I would think I was, maybe making this up. But he validated it, but he never told me until I asked him the questions. And that's very, very important to me anyway.
A lot of people who are psychics and clairvoyant and people who are got telepathy are coming forward and channelers. I mean, I'm watching Gaia, Cosmic Connections, Ancient Aliens, and I'm watching all these shows now developing around this issue. So 2024 is supposed to be a special year. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, disclosure,
Okay.
gentle, as I
Okay.
learned from you too, we have
Right.
gentle disclosure. It is beginning to happen. I mean, you'll see people, and also today, remember, a lot of people have cameras. We didn't have cell phones. So we do see things that people have taken as a picture. Not too many. The news comes out with certain amounts, so we're ready for disclosure. So anybody that's feeling that they want to know more, I can attest from even meeting you. We only met maybe a
Sure.
year ago now,
Not
that we
even
had a
a
very
year.
similar interest. Things will happen in your life to show you that maybe there's more around you. Mine was definitely disclosure of myself. I wrote a book, and I knew I was traveling all over the place, but I was also being shown by aliens. I did not know that. Actually, you kind of brought that forward for me to understand that. So I think Aldo was working through you too.
Very possible. You're kidding? Because his coach, my coach, your coach, my coach.
If you don't mind bringing that up.
I'll bring it up. No,
We don't have to mention
No,
names.
I won't, no.
But just to show you, and for our audience too, how incredible this is.
Yeah.
I was writing my book, and we were in another room in the studio here. So we just met because you came in, happened to be
True.
come in as a,
True.
Now, fast forward a little bit, you have a coach
Yep.
who is from Peru.
Right.
Aldo was my coach from Peru.
Yep.
And he knew Aldo.
True. That's
So
true.
how is that
That's true.
possible
It's true.
unless there
It's
was more
true.
going on
It's
behind the
true.
scenes,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely.
So, but I didn't tell you that at first.
No, you did not.
No,
You
no,
did
no.
not.
But that's why I had the interest in Aldo and what
Yes.
you were doing.
I mean, that he knew Aldo.
That's
Right,
true. Yeah, absolutely.
So how
no
does that
question
happen?
about
How
that.
does that? And we met here in the studio,
Right.
which
But-
is my magic place, by the way.
Okay, all right. For people who are listening, who are being nudged, if you will, from this program, or they may be looking at Cosmic Connections or Gaia, or listening to George Noreg or David Wilcox or somebody else out there, you know, Dolores Cannon. She was mad.
Amazing, yeah.
She was amazing all over the world, and she was nudged. And before she left this planet, she had written, 18 books, traveled all over the world, developed a new brand of hypnosis
Right,
that,
right.
that really works with everybody. So, and I would encourage you people to punch her up and watch what she says. But that means in addition to Gillian Green and Sylvia Brown and all those other people, a lot of people coming to the fore. So there are a lot of people who are listening to the show. You may be the next person who will be nudged to be a spokesperson
Well,
for the
they're going to have
awakening.
to hurry because I'm getting older.
No.
But I
no.
know what you're saying, yes.
But I'm saying there are a lot of people who are awakening these days.
They are, absolutely. But I do believe that, you know, we are not always aware, but I was definitely ready to open up, because how else did someone who knew me from previous lives,
True.
who did not show themselves to me until I'd had an out-of-body experience, basically. I'm not the only one out there. I was able to start to paint and draw, having done things from other lifetimes. Now, we're not all ready. We could have many other lifetimes and still keep coming back. There are many people in this lifetime who do
Okay.
not believe a word I'm saying.
Okay,
You know
fine.
what? It's okay.
Well, of course, people didn't believe in UFOs or aliens or anything like that, except that incident in Miami a couple weeks
Yeah, I
ago.
saw that,
Did
yeah.
you saw that?
Yeah.
Did you tell?
I didn't see it personally. Yeah.
No, but did you tell people about what happened?
From what I see, they went. You tell the story.
Well, briefly.
They saw aliens.
Oh yeah,
arrive.
absolutely. Yeah, the people were in the mall in Miami, and Bayside, and everybody started running to get out of the mall. 100 police cars arrived. They shut down all the air traffic.
Oh, they did. I wasn't aware.
Yeah, all the air traffic. 61,000 homes didn't have any electricity, and so people were scurrying.
Oh my God! They didn't put that all on the news.
I know, but if they were to go to Google Elizabeth April,
Okay.
if you
she
Google,
mentions that.
oh yeah, she talks about it in depth, and she tells you who they were and what happened, and it was a mistake that, in a sense, because she says, on this planet there are thousands of entities, not just 100
All
or
right.
2 or 3 or a dozen. There are hundreds and hundreds of entities coming from all vast different parts of the universe to visit us to see what we're going to do now, because ascension
critical-
is upon us. And so they're allowed to come here, but one of the rules is they can't show up. You can't see them
Okay.
because they're
Well,
on
this is
different
really
frequency.
interesting, Ross.
And she says, what happened was that the frequency, the latitude and longitude of where they showed up in the mall is reverse that, and then that's the longitude and latitude of Antarctica.
Oh, that's amazing.
So they reversed it, and they were supposed
Thank
to
you
show
for
up in
that
Antarctica,
story. Oh,
but
and they
showed
showed
up
up
at the mall.
here.
Yeah.
Okay,
But Google it and see. They talking. A lot of people are talking about this.
That's a great
You're right.
subject. Anybody here that's interested in that, ask either us or myself, because I love that.
sure.
Love that.
Sure.
Anybody here with a question on that? He's going to be able to tell you more than me, but
No, but just brought it up because it happened. It was all over the TikTok.
yeah, I
millions
just
and millions of people have watched it so far in the last month.
let's
or so.
see what
Yeah.
Freddie or Dawn have to ask about that. Any questions?
Did you see it, Freddie?
I did not.
Did you hear about it?
I did hear about it,
Okay.
but I didn't see it.
Oh, no, okay. I mean, there's a lot of discussion on it. April, again, Elizabeth April is talking about it. And then if you look at a podcast called Next Level Soul, he had somebody talking about it. I mean, so people are beginning to have a big discussion about what happened in Bayside Mall in Miami on New Year's Day.
I would have driven down there, but it would have taken me too long. Thank you for that story.
Yeah. But
Okay.
anyway, okay, one quick question.
Sure.
A lot of people are going to start having experiences now from, people and become channelists. They're going to become clairvoyant. They're going to be awakening. What would you suggest if they have an indication that they may be awakening and may become a spokesperson for the...
I can't say it enough. Just
what would you say to people?
be ready, because if you're fortunate enough to be able to have that happen, and I don't take what happened
Sure.
to me for granted, it's great, it's good. Don't be scared, go with it. Obviously, it's good to talk to somebody. I had my guide shortly after that, but I think, and I truly believe, you will attract that person into your life if you start to open up, because there are other people, not just Aldo, who are ready to help you with this. Don't be scared, it's your time. I mean, we all come in at different levels also when we have this. I mean, I had things from a childhood, but it took a lot. They really worked on me to show me my art, to say I could draw things from other lifetimes. I was very obstinate. But if I can help anybody through this process, if other things happen through, basically mine started with out-of-body astral projection and going to other planets, which I openly wrote in my first book, which 18 or 17 years ago people could have said, find her, lock her up,
No, they
but
would
it's
have.
not that way
Yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
It's much more
It's changing, drastically changing.
But it is, and it's very important that we do that.
Yeah,
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I just wanted to say that because you have an audience of people who watch you and listen to you week after week, and some of those persons may get an inkling that they are supposed to be.
Well, I
a
truly
spokesperson.
believe that, because
Yeah.
anybody that will tune into my show
Right.
and not turn it off, let's say that, or switch to another station, has an interest.
Right.
Because they might just say, I've had enough of this lady, she's crazy, which is fine. I understand that too. But someone that has an interest, just like I watch shows, and if I have no interest, I switch channels. So I believe there are people in the audience, maybe not right this second, but it is recorded so they can go onto YouTube or go into
Sure.
Call Me Zena and listen. And if they follow this, they have an interest.
Right.
So open up yourself to this. Maybe I help you, maybe you're helping, or even a question will help them. It's
Right.
important to follow it through, because I believe that's where, when it happens, we are ready.
Sylvia Brown, what would you say about Sylvia Brown? She's gone now.
She's
but-
been gone a long time.
Right.
Well, I did talk about that, I believe, in my first book.
You did.
She did a lot of the experiences or things that were happening to her I could relate to. I still wasn't ready to open up, but I believe that there was so much more going on in what we call our world today that I began to open up. In fact, I think one of my first recollections of that, many things that happened to me, I started talking to a candle. I didn't know what I was doing. I lit a candle and I said, if it's yes, the flame will come up. Thank you. I think we're going to break for a commercial. And the flame would go higher.
I
If
see.
it was a no, it just stayed stagnant.
I see.
So that's how I actually began to teach myself without any help from anybody at that point. But I didn't know quite how much was going to come out, actually. I believe we have a commercial break, so I'll
Okay.
see you after. I won't want to say on the other side, because then people, I'll see you after the commercial break. Thank you. This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real, and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybernard.com today. Now, back to the show. Okay, you're back. I'm on the other side of my show, okay? So anybody that's ready to ask me questions, please do so. They're probably on the other side, but I'm just not aware of it. But this right now, I'm on my show, on this side. Okay, anybody in the audience? You have a pressing question, please ask me. Anybody?
Well,
Sally, we were talking earlier today about traveling. Time traveling and finding it in vibration, and when you finally come back down to earth. And I was listening to your commercial, and you briefly talked about that in your commercial when you first felt like you were traveling. What was it like for you?
Well, again, you have more of an idea because you've listened to me and you know a little bit. When it first happened to me, I had no idea what was happening, and I talk about that in the beginning of my book. But of course, I did have Aldo after that. It's a vibration. We're energy, Dawn, so we get the vibrations. I'm understanding it much more. But all I knew is that I thought I could feel tremendous. I was shaking the vibrational energy coming from this. In fact, when I first happened to me, I thought that the trucks or dumpsters outside, I could hear that noise. It was that type of noise when they come in, but I was vibrating like crazy. I also remembered that when I came back, because I had no idea what was happening to me, I actually hit my wall because I saw all these things and I jerked. I didn't know that can happen when this happens, because you're actually coming back into your body. We are out of body. Later on, over the months and definitely years, I began to understand much more. But in my first book, which actually is probably out of production right now because I am coming out with a much more up-to-date version in a couple of months, but it's important, for me it was, to understand that we have an astral body. And if you don't mind, because you asked the question, Dawn, you are actually in your astral body, and the difference between a dream and what's happening in your astral body is that you will remember that. You will remember every detail, and I've talked about this before. I remember every detail for 18 years of all what I thought were dreams, of every single thing that happened to me, even to what I might have been wearing. It's so vivid. It's more vivid than our memory here of things that have happened. So that's the difference. Aldo actually, I said to him when I told him what was happening, but of course he knew. I said, but I hit the wall. I jerked. He said, all you just say, and this is what I did, when this happens, you do not want that to happen to you. It will not happen. So I was lucky. I had my guide. I said when I went to sleep, I don't want to hit my wall. I also don't want my head to be cut off from my overhead fan. That was not going to happen.
No.
But I thought it was. I
No,
didn't hit the wall anymore. I've never had another jerk.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
No, but
no,
you don't
yeah.
know that. So if anybody feels that they're flying, I thought I had to turn my fan off because I thought it's going to chop my head off. That can't happen.
No,
It's
no.
where energy that's going. So in answer to your question, Dawn, go with it. You are being blessed. It's a gift that you're being given right now. Go with it. And as you know, I am your friend. So anything that you want to ask that I may be able to help you with, I'm here to help you.
What about if you get super sensitive to light and sound and music? Is that all part of
It's all
The
because
growth?
that's exactly, and to this day, my eyes are very sensitive to noise and to bright lights. Look what's facing me right now. Does not bother me. Once I get off this stage and I'm not in the trance that I'm in, the bright lights will help. I can't look at bright lights. I've got five sitting. I don't
True.
notice them.
Right.
So you're in a different dimension. Exactly. I can't take loud noise. I hate loud noise. I always had that as a child. It was horrible. But you can tune into that. You can tune it out. I'm aware of that. I still don't like a bright light looking at me. But because I'm not here, although people don't realize that, I can look all I want for the next 10, 15 minutes at bright lights. So you can tune it out.
Do you feel like all of that, because you told me before the show, there's a message in all of this traveling?
Yeah, I don't believe that it happens. I think we're ready. And I think that there are certain people that you're meeting in your travels. I believe this has been happening to you for a long time. You just haven't been aware of it, okay? You're very aware of it. And hopefully that I've helped you with that, because I've talked about it over a year and a half that I think that I've been here now. So they're coming to you because they know they can. They know that you will listen. It's like you keep doing something and that person's not taking any notice of you in this life, just talking. If they don't, I can't be bothered, they're not ready. But the moment this is coming to me very clearly, the moment they show an interest in what you're doing, and this is what they're telling me, they now know that they're getting through to you. Does that make sense, Dawn?
Absolutely.
So they're giving you messages because they know that you're aware of them now. They've been around you for a long, long time, but you're more aware now.
Sure.
I'd like to follow up on that
Sure.
just briefly.
Sure.
When we did a program not too long ago, a couple of months ago, with Zora, remember?
Right.
The guy in Hollow Earth.
Right.
And one of the things he says that your body, when you go to sleep at night, you do leave your body. Most of us don't remember. Don't remember leaving the body, don't
Right.
remember the dream. So everyone does that. Can we say that? Everyone does that.
Absolutely, everybody does it.
Wow.
Because there is an astral plane. I mean, I don't know how frequent we go, because I don't have the answers to that, but we do go.
But no one told us that.
No,
right?
because you're not going to believe it if you're not ready.
Right, okay. So the religions of the day, if you will, we'll come down on that too hard, didn't tell us that we had that ability. They didn't tell us that. Why? Well, okay.
It's just like, why don't we have disclosure?
Well,
It's
that's
going to
true.
scare
That's
the
true.
heck out of everybody.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
you have
But-
to be
But I
at the
think
point
people are
ready.
ready for it now.
Certain people, no, not everybody.
No, that's true. I had a lady today say I don't believe in UFOs. So that's okay. But a lot of people still don't believe. Hey, look, I've been studying this stuff for 60 years, more than that. But anyway, and I used to do radio shows on it back in 1992. Then I stopped. And I decided, okay, let me just stop this
Right,
and go
right.
do something else.
Right.
You know, and I got into, the business world, so to speak. It did fairly well, but now I'm back again.
Welcome back, fellas.
As I'm getting ready to leave the planet. But Zora said, the guy from Hollow Earth, he says that when we come here, we make a contract to come to this planet, that your soul has made a contract to come here
Right.
at this particular time
Right.
to do. What would you say to people who may not even believe that? They decided before they got here to go ahead. What would you say?
No,
to-
I understand what you're
Go ahead,
saying.
go
And
ahead.
I think the answer is not really that complicated to
Okay,
answer that.
okay.
Because I think we're just, different people are ready at different times.
Of course.
So if you put something out there, be it even an advertising thing, if you're ready to buy a certain product,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to see it and you're going to buy it. If you're not ready, you don't even remember the commercial.
Right,
This
that's
is just how they're telling me to show the analogy of that. It works exactly the same as far as I know. I'm only as good as what I know. But if you're showing me something and I have absolutely no interest in it, it's going to go way above my head. However, it's important to put it out, because there are people out there that have that interest, but when they hear something they can relate to, if they're ready, it's going to go into their mind. They're telling me this, really describing this to me.
Good.
It's going to go into their conscious, subconscious, superconscious. So they're ready. If you turn something on, they're also ready. But even this show, there may be viewers out there that hadn't realized they're ready, but now they're hearing things. They could have listened to my show 2-3 months ago, even when we were on it together. They weren't ready to hear it. They may be ready now. We know
Yeah, right.
when we're ready.
Right, okay.
So
okay.
what you may hear a year from now or a year before today will have a different significance when you're ready to hear it. It has a much greater meaning.
Okay. So since we made the contract to come here for this at this time, 2024, the year of disclosure, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell people to do who may feel as if something is amiss, but they can't put their hand on it?
What they should do is, well, go into yourself. Go speak to someone. I'm open to talk anybody that wants to talk to me, but there are many people out there like you and I. Not many, but there are. You can
It's growing.
find them. It's growing.
It's growing.
Talk to someone. Speak about what's happening to you, because if you do that, I believe that you're really getting ready to open up more. If you keep it within yourself, truthfully, there are many people that have done that. And you know where they end up? Schizophrenic. I'm not saying every schizophrenic, or I'm not putting a label on
True.
anything, but they think they're going crazy.
Right.
So when someone else says this to them, they believe they're really going crazy. I'm not saying certain people are meant to be where they are, because you're opening up and you may not be ready, but don't ignore it. Listen to other programs. There are many out there. Listen to people. Read books. Again, I really have the gratitude for Aldo, because he came in my life, which he had done in another lifetime. So he knew me. Not everybody has that, but I believe we've all got guides. We all have guides. I truly believe that, but they may not all be here in physicality.
Right.
But we are guides. I'm a guide right now to somebody here,
Oh, absolutely.
or somebody in the studio that wants a question answered. Just that somebody here is my guide.
Right.
But the ones that are significant will show themselves more.
Okay. So, the year of disclosure, the beginning of it. So the Pentagon kind of opened the door so the rest of us can come out and talk
Right.
about what you really know. So there are a lot of people who will be coming for, people who are really clairvoyant, people who can do remote viewing, telepathy, can do a lot of things, psychokinesis even. So what would you tell the people who may want to be, say, a hypnotherapist or to help others? What would you tell them?
It's complicated, but it's very simple.
Right.
Just go with what you feel, your gut
Okay.
instinct. If you
Okay.
begin to open up, I truly believe this, more and more, it's happening, but you're just not aware of it.
Right.
When you begin to open up, you're going to see so many things that before you put down as coincidence. It's not. There is much more. But it's all up to us. We have to believe that. If you don't believe it, these things can keep showing themselves, especially, in the lifetime that you're in, and you may not be ready. But if you see certain things and you say to yourself, well, I don't know, how in the world did that happen? Question how in the world that happened. Maybe there's something else greater than us. I'm not here to preach religion or anything at this point.
Right.
But there are things that go on that that are unexplainable to us.
Right.
It happened to me for many, many years. I knew that things were going on, but I never really dwelled into it.
I see.
But they never gave up with me. I
see.
will say for me, I was very lucky, because they never gave
In
up.
addition to Aldo, was there anybody else around you in your family or that you met that you thought pushed you in this direction?
Well, no, but I will say this, that both my mother and father were very, very accepting.
Oh, I see.
And my parents had me when they were already getting older. So I didn't have them for that many years, and my parents split up in my life. But now that I think back, my mother was very open to this. My father also was open. They never said that couldn't have happened, right? When I was talking as a child, I thought they were waking me up. They brought in a psychic.
I
So
see.
for people today that may have children that may say things that, how in the world did they say that? Or things that happen, take it seriously. Listen to children, because children right now are really coming in that need to come in right now. So they're very open. They may not know that. but they're very aware of what's going on. They're here to help. So we need to help them.
So the hybrids are coming now, right? The hybrids are people who were, the children who were born on spaceships because
Right.
of the incarnated spirits.
Yeah,
They come
yeah.
to the planet. There's a website called hybridchildrencommunity.com. A young lady named Brenda, she's running that. People might go to that website and
Yeah,
get some
there's-
idea. So they'd be walking among us, and they come into.
And that's very important what you're bringing up. I mean, people may not remember the names that we're giving
True,
out.
true.
However, it's really important because it is out there on the internet. So if something is coming to you, punch it into Google, and there may be someone that's had that same experience. So they can do your own, not you personally, because I know you've done a lot of research, but do your own
Sure.
research on these things. When I first had this happen, that Google, I don't even know if Google, this is a long time ago.
Of course.
I'm not sure how long Google's been around, but I do remember someone saying to me, you can look people up on Google, so it was in my lifetime here. Do the research. We're lucky today that it's all open. And then go with it. Just say to yourself you want to meet more people that are like-minded. These things happen. Don't necessarily put it down to coincidence.
Okay, I see.
So I hope that helps our viewers. I mean, we'll continue and do other shows, Russ, but just to talk about, the aliens, I believe it's really important because you
what-
helped me greatly
well, they're
in opening
here.
up for me
They're here in
personally.
big numbers.
And you helped me understand that that's
Right.
what had happened to me, and I thank you very much for that because while Aldo was here when it was happening, he knew that it had to come from me before he told me I was being abducted. It never occurred to me in Aldo's lifetime. I now know that I'm traveling, I write it all down. Aliens talk to me, spirits, I don't see them as people taking me on a craft. This happened. So now I put two and two together. Took me a long time.
Right. Something else in that book, when I was reading your book, called me Zena, it talked about the benevolent and malevolent species here on the planet Earth and in the universe, and the many hundreds of thousands, billions, trillions of galaxies and planets out
Right,
there.
right.
Right. So there's a war going on between the light and the dark. How does one address that?
I
How do
think
you
that
handle
that's
that?
happened, and I talked to Aldo about that too. And from what I feel, this has happened from day one.
Okay.
When there is a war, but you know what? We have to have light we have to have dark to appreciate light. So it's a game. To get in, and maybe we'll talk in another show about this is an illusion. So to see the light, we sometimes need the dark to switch on the light.
Sure.
It's exactly the same. We have to have that balance.
The
Ironically,
contrast.
I'm a Libra. Balance. I didn't realize that.
Right.
But it's all about balance. So if we have the good, we have the bad. I believe we change roles, and that helps me understand this in many different lifetimes. We can come in our game and say we were bad people. Okay,
Right.
so we were bad people. Not good, but we're going to learn from that. And the next one will come in, we're all good. Nobody is all good and all bad. I don't believe that. And I believe that we find our balance in that.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that people are doing bad things is right. It's not, because I'm not going to say that, because it's not. But if we look at it as a game, I think we have to experience each and every part of this life, of everybody, of everything that goes on. We don't have to always delve into it. I mean, if people, unfortunately, you hear people say they do these bad things because they got messages. We don't understand that. I don't understand that.
Okay.
But you know what? Let's all try and lift, no matter how we've come in and what we planned, let's end this on a note that let's lift this planet up a little bit. Even if you don't believe me or my story or other people that are coming forward, just put out good vibrational energy. I want to end it there because it's so
Certainly.
important
Stay
for this.
positive.
Yeah, to stay positive, to put out, I notice we still have a few more minutes.
Okay.
To put that positive energy out to people that are not experienced that. Feel bad for them. Try and see if we can turn their energy around. But it is a game, and we have to have the light and the dark. I
Yeah,
will say
yeah.
that.
This has to be a balance.
Yeah.
So if let's assume that you leave 20 years from now, 50 years from now, whatever.
50 years from now?
So are you willing to come back again?
Okay, I was talking to my girlfriend Marita, and I don't know if you're listening, Marita. I'm not ready, even if I feel that I am. And we were discussing this the other day. I believe that I still have plenty to do here. I may be able to do it, but till I go to another dimension. I'm not over. I don't want to suddenly say I'm over here and then I don't go to the other dimensions that are waiting there for me.
True.
I'm not quite ready to graduate from this particular 3D. I might be. I've still got a little while to go.
Would you think that we will go to at least the 4th or the 5th?
Yes, it's like school.
Yeah.
It's like classes. We're here. But when we've learned as the program was about karma, we've got rid of all that karma in this dimension.
Okay.
We're done with this. We're not done because we get to the next dimension and we have more karma.
Of course.
We have more things to figure out.
Of course.
And I've said this before. We eventually get it. I don't know what happens to us. I have to be honest about that. They're not giving me any messages
So it's a
after
work in
that.
progress.
It's worth, put in the time, okay? You will absolutely benefit.
So do you still watch Gaia or Cosmic
I
Connections with
do,
George
not
and
as
Ray?
much as, yes, and
Yeah,
I could
right,
never
right.
give that up.
Yeah.
I'm only beginning to start to understand this.
Well,
Russ.
Linda Mewton Howell, Howe, she's got a new program on Gaia. It's called Truth Hunters.
Can I just explain what Gaia
go
is
ahead,
so
please,
that my
please,
listeners, when they
please,
actually
please,
come back
please.
to my
Yeah,
show,
right.
it's a program that is actually put out on TV. You have to subscribe
Mm-hmm,
to it, and they put all these beautiful messages and
awesome.
things out. So if you're interested, and then you listen to my show, it helps me because you've listened to something that many people, including people in the government, actually,
course.
well-known names of people that have talked about this. So be ready. I have not got all the answers by any means, but at least you've heard from somebody and you might want to ask. You can ask me because I loved those programs and I still do today. So we're always learning until we get it, but that takes a long, well, not really because we're not here very long.
What would you say about Edgar Casey if people wanted to do a little homework? What would
Well,
you say?
Edgar Casey was a prophet that had the dreams, right? And he came to many people, I believe. Read up on Edgar Casey. I did in the very beginning. He was a prophet, and he was amazing. There are many, not just Edgar Casey. There are many, many people.
Of course.
Do your research. I mean, I'm not a great person with research, to be honest with you. I feel it will come to me. I'll go into. I don't have the patience.
I remember what happened to Aldo's books.
Aldo knew this, and he said to me, I'll do the research for you with what you want to know, because he was able to tell me anyway. I'm not saying spend hours, because I didn't do this,
Right.
and I still don't.
Right.
Hours and hours and hours looking at things and researching it and remembering people's names. I don't do that.
Right.
But I'm not saying other people
So
do.
you-
I never did it in school.
So intuitively, you get all that information
I
anyway.
do, yes,
Yeah.
because I'm ready. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. And there are certain things that I'm interested in that I would look up. But I'm not a great person to give names and things out, because that's not who I am.
Okay.
I am who I
Okay.
am.
Okay.
I'm not saying other people, everybody's different proceeding
course.
with their
Yeah.
messages.
Okay.
Okay, I think one last question. Maybe there's people sitting
Somebody
quietly
have a
over
question? She has a
there.
question.
I think
Well, it's like kind of going back to like spirit guide stuff. What do you believe about like animal spirit guides, like animals as messengers of like things?
I believe that animals can definitely help us. I mean, they may bark, so we don't know what the message is. But it's, I'm just joking, because not every animal barks. But we hear telepathy. I mean, how does everybody that talks to me is speaking English? I don't know. They may not have been English in this lifetime, right? But it's a feeling, it's a telepathy. I can only tell you what's happened to me. My dog, Sabrina, has come to me many, many times. And Aldo loved her more than anything in this
Wow.
world.
Wow.
So he shows her to me sometimes. And some of the messages, I may go on my phone and there'll be a picture. She was a cavalier. I'll see a cavalier. Maybe not. So I know she's around. They can also communicate with us. They're also on a learning process. I believe that. Not everybody does, but I believe that they are spiritual, definitely spiritual animals.
Well,
Well, I think we're coming to the end.
okay, well, what would be a good message for the next minute or so that you could just help people to understand who they are and that they are infinite
Well,
beings?
I'm-
They never die. They come back.
I'm sorry, because I know I've only got a second, but thank you for the question, Rux.
Okay.
They can tune into us, tune
Oh.
into my show, I'm here to answer questions. Do research, as I had said. Everything will show itself. The timing may not always be right for us, and this is important, and you bring me to this answer here. But pursue it. If you have an interest in something, pursue it, because it's not accidental. It will show itself again and again. And thank you for that question, because it's a good way to close. I don't have all the answers. I have very few, actually, and there are people that have more than myself. But as long as you're open, more and more will come to you.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you very much for being my guest. It was a long time that you've been on my show. I
My
haven't
pleasure.
seen you in a while.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.